Many thanks for joining us. This is the news on Galaxy Television, broadcasting to viewers here in Nigeria, West Africa, and across the globe. My name is Tife Tanemomo. First, the headlines. The federal government scraps the Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR, Petroleum Equalization Fund Management Board, PEFMB, and Petroleum Product Pricing Regulatory Agency, PPPRA. Plus, on the news, Muslims in Nigeria and all over the world celebrate the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. And when we take you outside Nigeria, Polish Prime Minister accuses the European Union of blackmail in a heated debate with European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen over the rule of law. Those are top stories. We'll bring you details shortly. Many thanks for joining us once again. A very warm welcome to you. On the news, we begin with stories from the federal government angle as the federal government has scrapped the Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR, Petroleum Equalization Fund Management Board, PEFMB, and Petroleum Product Pricing Regulatory Agency, PPPRA. As a result, the government announced the transition of the now-defunct DPR, PEFMB, PPRA to the newly introduced agencies and their chief executives with respect to the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA. The scrapping of the three agencies was announced by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timothy Silva. A statement from the ministry revealed. According to the statement, the new agency are the Nigerian Upstream Regulatory Commission as well as the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Authority, respectively. Before the latest developments, the DPR monitors fuel stations across the country to ensure products are not hoarded, among other functions, while PFMB is a special intervention put in place by the government to ensure products are sold at approved prices across the country. PPPRA, on the other hand, is saddled with the responsibility to determine the pricing policy and regulate the supply and distribution of petroleum products, among others. And of course, away from that, we'll take you to other stories, giving us a legal perspective as a year after the EndSARS protest, the human rights activists in Lagos organizes memorial symposium across the state to commemorate the one-year anniversary protest that occurred last year.
Certainly, I'm not, and I said so much to the panel yesterday myself. I told them, the panel, that while we appreciate their what do you call it, their hard work and their fair hearing that's been given to people to present their case to the best of their ability, but it was lacking in glassnut and perestroika.
Just yesterday, the panel concluded its business without delivering a report on the Lekki shooting after 12 months, and we are demanding for justice. We will continue to push.
The panel is being compromised because I think it's belonged to the government. So what do you think they will do? So I'm not satisfied because there's no justice until the justice is served.
The guest speaker, ex-chairman Nigerian Bar Association Ikeja branch, Barrister Adesina Ogunlana, said the memorial is to celebrate the fallen heroes who lost their lives during the shootings on October 20 at the Lekki tollgate. Galaxy's Daniel Tinimu reports Ogunlana, who shows total dissatisfaction with the judicial panel of the inquiry's final judgment, says the panel's inability to make public the reports of her findings on the Lekki shootings is unacceptable. Some of the participants applauded the unity demonstrated by the youth during the #EndSARS protest, as they further added that the protest united all youths from different tribes and religion.
Yes, Nigerian youth came together, they spoke with one voice and requested and demanded that police brutality in Nigeria should come to an end. That is what we want. Everyone put their ethnicity aside, religion aside. They were willing to work together to get things done.
The EndSARS protest brought the youth together, different people from different places. We had unity. We didn't have any religious disunity. We didn't have ethnic disunity until what happened.
If not for the fact that some people died, probably we won't be upholding the narrative until this time, which is about 1 year. And for me, that is something that is historical.
I think since my existence in life as a Nigerian, I would say for 30 plus years, I'd never experienced such a unity before, like I experienced during EndSARS 2020. You know, it was a situation where we had our comrades, our people, our youths, and like I said, you know, there are people who are not activists, but they wore the regalia of activism only for one reason: for the soul of the nation, to protect it. You know, and it was also an opportunity for us to restore hope again. You know, we're so tired, things were off. You know, it was one of the reasons why the president would have that effrontery to call us lazy. You know, because he felt that we were looking away. But we had come to say, okay, it's not our country, let's stand up to it. Let's salvage what is left of this country.
If you are saying you agree that somebody died, because initially the police command Ojodu Grammar School did not agree that they shot this guy. They did not even agree that somebody died. Then the lawsuit people, the doctor in lawsuit, confirmed after his death, they confirmed that he died of COVID-19. So I was like, how will a bullet become a coronavirus?
Deepen the youth's understanding of why we need a social revolution, why we need a social change, why we need to change the social existence from what it is as it is now, that it favors just about 0.5% instead of favoring 99.9% of our people.
We'll stay with that story. Meanwhile, the Lagos State Judicial Panel on Restitution for Victims of SARS-related abuses and other matters has concluded in a findings and report and made necessary recommendations. The panel, led by Honorable Justice Doris Okowobi, treated several petitions from aggrieved victims seeking justice and compensation for crimes committed against them by officers of the Nigerian Police Force. Galaxy's Daniel Tinimo gives details on this report.
It's been a year since the Lagos State government set up a 9-man judicial panel of inquiry to investigate cases of brutality and human rights violations perpetrated by operatives of the Nigerian Police Force and the dissolved Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS. The panel, which is led by Honorable Justice Doris Okowobi, has received a total number of 335 petitions between October and December 2020. Out of this number, about 112 cases have been brought up before the panel. This includes cases that have been struck out, those undergoing hearing, and those that have received judgments.
In this 1 year, the panel has dealt with a very, very heavy docket of 235 petitions, but some with multiple petitioners, giving us a sum total of 252 petitions and the investigation of the Lekki incident of 20th October 2020. The panel conducted 186 petitions and we have 52 yet to be taken. The Lekki investigation was completed by the panel and the panel is working on its report.
Justice Doris, who gave her final recommendations, added that some of the petitioners and their witnesses were absent and their cases had to be closed down due to the limited time the panel has to conclude on its report.
For petitions not concluded and those not even opened at all, the files will be recommended in our report to be sent back to the Lagos State Ministry of Justice, the supervising ministry, for the purposes of government consideration of whatever body that would take up handling of human rights violations in Lagos State. In respect of Lekki investigations and individual petitions concluded, the panel will submit in its report the outcome of findings in respect of Lekki individual petitions and make the necessary recommendation on compensation to be paid to the petitioners.
During the proceedings, Justice Doris said the petitioners have the right to file in cases against the police for human rights violations and other abuses. She added that the panel took cases of police brutality alongside the Lekki shooting incident and awarded compensation to some of the victims.
The panel finds the petition meritorious and hereby makes an award of 5 million naira in favor of the petitioner for the injuries sustained as a result of the unlawful and reckless shooting by a police officer. The panel finds the petition meritorious and hereby makes an award of 10 million naira in favor of the deceased family for the unlawful killing of the deceased Ikechukwu Ilamuzo by the police.
Daniel Tenimu for Galaxy TV News, Lagos.
Let's stay with the hashtag EndSARS protests still for a moment, but now in Oyo State ahead of Wednesday planned procession and candle night in commemoration of the one-year hashtag EndSARS event in some parts of Ibadan. Authorities of Oyo State Police Command have warned organizers of the event to have a rethink or face the wrath of the law. Some groups had already organized street procession across some areas in Ibadan Tuesday morning and candle night later in the day to commemorate the day. The State Police Command, in a statement issued and signed by the image maker of the command, Adewale Oshifeso, said the command, through intelligence availed to it, has unraveled plans by the groups of misguided people to embark on large-scale violent protest in parts of the state in commemoration of the event. The command therefore warned people, and most importantly, architects of the sinister plans, to have a rethink or face the wrath of the law, adding that it would not hesitate to use any legitimate means necessary within the ambit of the law to enforce sanity and prevent needless loss of lives and wanton destruction of private and public properties. The command revealed it has directed extensive visibility and aggressive patrols by area commanders and divisional police officers, while adequate deployment of operational, intelligence and tactical assets will be strategically positioned across all nooks and crannies of the states to complement and neutralize any threat or act. He further warned parents, guardians and leaders that wield various degrees of influence in religious education and traditional capacities to passionately advise and warn their wards against being used by merchants of anarchy. You're still on the news on Galaxy Television. We'll now take a break for a moment, but in the part 2 of the news, we'll take you back here in Lagos as one person has been confirmed dead and 2 others injured in a 2-story building collapse in a Ikorodu community of Lagos State. That story gets our focus next. Stay with us, please. Welcome back. You're still on to the news on Galaxy Television. We want to say many thanks to our virtual viewers for watching the news on Galaxy Television across all social media platforms. Now, for more update and latest news, you could also join us on our website at galaxytvonline.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/GalaxyTV Nigeria. We are live on our Facebook page. You could follow and interact with us at facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-6666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comment. Now, here in Lagos, one person died and 2 injured in a story building collapse in Haruna bus stop around Ikorodu community area. One Joseph Ilesa, 25-year-old, was confirmed dead and his body recovered in a building that collapsed on Monday at 10 p.m. LABSK, NEMA, and police operatives of the police DMU and LASEMA began searching for the trapped people and were able to rescue 2 persons. 2 injured persons were also confirmed as a male and a female, and they are currently at the Ikorodu General Hospital receiving medical treatment. Immediately the incidents occurred, the local residents within the area mobilized themselves to carry out initial rescue activities. Though fire service and police responded, but were unable to do much due to unavailability of equipment to lift the rumbles of the suspected location of trapped victims. The collapsed building was an extension of a structure as the emergency phase of search and rescue had ended with the evacuation of all debris to ground zero with no additional body recovered, sadly. And now, away from that to today's celebration, Muslims all over the world celebrate the birthday of Prophet Muhammad according to Muslim faithfuls. This day is to remember his teachings and abide by them. Iribami Salako tells us more on this report.
As Muslims all over the world celebrate the birth anniversary of Prophet Muhammad, attention is drawn to the need to live an exemplary lifestyle just like the Prophet led. The need to live a selfless, truthful, trustworthy life that earned the Prophet the nickname Al-Amin, the Trusted One, is needed now more than ever as the country faces insecurity, corruption, among other crises. The significance of this day is not limited to just Muslims, but all Nigerians.
We are trying to remind people the way the Prophet lived his life as a promoter of peace, as a good interfaith relations expert, as a good judge, as the best father, as the best leader, as the promoter of justice, as the promoter of blessing, as the promoter of goodness, as somebody who fought corruption, who fought tribalism, who fought ethnicity, but he promoted peace, peaceful existence. When do we need it better than now in Nigeria? This time around, we need someone to remind us of the need to coexist peacefully.
What brought us to this stage of our life in Nigeria is selfishness. Look around. Everybody with his house, his gate, his fence doesn't want to know what is happening to the other. That is not what the Prophet taught us. The Prophet says we are brothers and we are just like the pin, the mouth of the comb. One part is holding the other. In buildings, a block is holding the other block. So that is the way we should live, selflessly. So when you live selflessly, you will be able to see your partner as you, not just as your brother, as you. And can you harm yourself?
Women are also charged to raise their children properly and in likeness of Prophet Muhammad, so they may be a source of joy to their parents and worthy assets to their communities.
For you to have a child that will be so much loved, respected, and become so noble as Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam will definitely be the desire of every mother. We are celebrating someone that is what being emulated. So it's also a challenge for every woman. How would I nurture a child that will become so trusted and be named Al-Amin as Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it's just a wake-up call for us as women that we should be try as much as possible to understand our religion, make sure we teach our children the right thing to do.
Irebami Salako, Galaxy TV News, Lagos.
Meanwhile, in Oyo State, the state government and National Orientation Agency has felicitated with Muslims in the state on the occasion of this year's Eid al-Maulud celebration, advising that the unity of purpose, virtues of kindness, humility, and peaceful coexistence exemplified by the Holy Prophet Muhammad be emulated. Governor Sheyi Makinde, in a congratulatory message to the people of the state, urged Muslims and other Nigerians to reflect on the life of selflessness and goodness which the Holy Prophet lived. He commended the Muslim community in Oyo State for their continued support, peaceful coexistence, and tolerance for his governments, even as he urged them to use the occasion of the Holy Prophet's birth to reflect on the essential lessons of life. On a part, the State Director of National Orientation Agency in the state, Folake Ayola, called on all Muslims to emulate the noble attitudes of the Holy Prophet, whose birthday is being celebrated across the world, adding that they should emulate his lifestyle for the sake of peace and economic advancement of the nation, in line with the mantra of Islam as a religion of peace. Now, still on this particular subject matter, we'll take you to Benue State, there in the middle belt, as Muslim leaders and clerics in Benue State admonish Muslim faithfuls to remain prayerful for the sustenance of peace, unity, and progress of Nigeria as they celebrate the birth of Prophet Muhammad. Leader of the Benue State chapter of Jama Atunazril Islam, Garba Baba, and Chief Imam of Makurdi, Dr. Suleiman Habib, made this known when they both spoke after embarking on a Muslim rally across Makurdi metropolis to commemorate the birth of Prophet Muhammad. While the rally crossed major streets and landed at the North Bank Mosque, they described the Islamic event as remarkable and reinvigorates the virtue of love, tolerance, sacrifice, peaceful coexistence, which must be maintained in the face of insecurity challenges, and called to prayer, good leadership ahead of 2023 general elections in the country.
Cooperate and pray for this country, because you see what we are facing now, insecurity, problems left and right. We have to pray so seriously to the federal government, state government, and we ourselves. Solve the problem in said prayer.
In fact, we came out today, not only in Benue or Nigeria, all over, especially the Muslim world, to celebrate and commemorate the birth of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Brethren, let us maintain peace within our communities, within our state capital and local government, within the state, and then this peace, we pray, may it be extended to the whole Nigeria, not only Nigeria, to the whole at large.
And now, away from that, we'll track crime-related matters, particularly in Ondo State, where the police command in that state has paraded 3 suspects for serial rape and defrauding a point-of-service operator. The police public relations officer, Fumilayo Odunlami, brought the suspect before newsmen at the command headquarters in Akure, the Ondo State capital. One of the suspects, a 61-year-old clergy, is suspected for raping and impregnating a 16-year-old girl in Ogbese, Akure North local government area of the state. The pastor was alleged to have taken the girl to a market square at night where he defiled her under the pretense of taking her for spiritual deliverance. Also paraded by the police is 35-year-old serial rapist who always inflicts injuries on his victims after raping them. The suspect, who is alleged to have raped about 5 girls in Akure, who dispossessed them of their belongings. The third suspect was arrested for defrauding a point-of-service operator with fake alert and tried to escape, but policemen nearby apprehended the suspect. The suspects are expected to have their days in court after conclusion of investigation.
They were shouting, I didn't know. They were shouting, thief, 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 thief. I thought maybe because I eated that guy, that's why Okada people do. If they want to catch you, they'll be shouting, so people can rescue them. I didn't even know that the police officer were there. Where they stopped, it was a hook or dog. I can't, there's no way I can go in or come in. Nobody stopped me.
I checked my account app. I said, the money you sent did not enter. Then I said, let me see your debit alert. He didn't answer me. He was going through his car. Before I could even see him, he entered his car and drove off.
Still tracking crime-related matters, but now in Ogun State, operatives of that state's police command say they have arrested 3 members of a suspected robbery syndicate terrorizing Mowe and its environs. Galaxy TV News reports from the command indicates that the trio were nabbed on Monday, 18th October 2021. The suspects are Daniel Okereke, Henry Osagwe, and Wisdom Atuba. The State Public Relations Officer Abimbola Oyeyemi said items recovered from them include 1 locally made shotgun loaded with 2 live cartridges, 2 jackknives, and criminal charms. Meanwhile, he said the State Commissioner of Police, Lanre Bankole, has ordered the immediate transfer of the suspect to the State Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department for discreet investigation. And now, away from crime-related matters, the senator representing Ondo South Senatorial District of Ondo State, Nicholas Tofo-Womo, has expressed his dissatisfaction to the abandoned power transmission project at Enrije community in Okitipupa local government area of Ondo State. The project, which was carried out by the Niger Delta Development Commission, started during the immediate past administration of Dr. Goodluck Jonathan to supply electricity to the communities in the district, which has been in darkness for several years. But the commission was said to have been abandoned and abandoned the project. It was gathered that over 1,000 communities in 5 local government areas of the senatorial district had been without electricity for the past 14 years. Tofo-Womo, who inspected the Enrije Power Project, said the abandonment of the project was as a result of the instability of policies in the country and the internal wrangling within the NDDC. The senator, however, declared that workers had resumed work after the intervention of the Senate recently.
This project is not only peculiar to this. That is Nigeria. Nigeria, we are not reliable. It's very unfortunate. I'm in Nigeria too. And NDDC, they've been fighting each other for a very long time. Even presently, they are still protesting. So it's because the country is not stable. But let's pray to God that sanity should start coming in so that we can have a better future for this country.
This site. Getting to this place, all information given to us has created joy in our heart that between now and April, there will be light in these 5 local governments. So I say bravo to the NDDC, to Senator Nicholas Tofo-Womo for at least reminding the Senate to support at the Red Chamber that they should support him to call NDDC back to the work.
And now to party politics, Deputy Senate President Senator Ovio Omo Agege has received hundreds of new members, which includes youths and elders from the ruling People's Democratic Party into the All Progressives Congress in Delta State. Senator Omo Agege, who received the members at the Delta Community Hall in Uheli South local government area of the state, urged them to ensure they retire the PDP come 2023 as it welcomes them to the APC. Still tracking party politics, the consensus arrangement in the Southeast People's Democratic Party for the position of National Secretary Zone to the region seems to have collapsed, even though the governors and leaders of Southeast picked Senator Sam Anyanwu last week, Thursday, in Enugu State as the consensus candidate. Okemoyo Aro, a member of the party National Executive Committee (NEC), also came to submit his nomination and expression of interest forms at the party national headquarters for the same position, same time with Anyao. While accosted by journalists, Senator Anyao confirmed that his emergence as the consensus candidate for the national secretary of the party may cause mass defection for the Imo State and All Progressive Congress at large.
Because today, you've seen that the social media today, the president, you see the former governor of Imo State, giving a press release that he is part of this and that he is supporting is my choice. And of course, even Governor Peter, everybody have agreed. Not expect in one way or the other, in during meetings, people might have their interest and all that. But once there's a consensus, is there, and everybody has joined, and we're all working together, there's no other candidate that will emerge from Southeast for this position.
We are not an island. We have neighbors, we have brothers across all the political divides. If the leaders of Southeast had meant well for PDP, they would have looked at what was done by the Northern Caucus, by the Southwest, and by the South-South.
In the same vein, Deputy National Chairman, Northeast Consensus candidate Umar Eli Damafu and Deputy National Financial Secretary, Consensus candidate Adamu Kamalu also submitted their expression of interest and nomination forms.
Put in my experience, like now, that the party needs some fresh blood to be injected for the progress. We can see the ground is fertile, and with the combination of people like us, I don't want to much bother you with, but the experience is there, and I believe I can put forward a very good progress.
If I'm elected eventually at the forthcoming national convention, we are going to join hands in the National Working Committee of this great party, all of you, including the staff.
You're still on the news on Galaxy Television. We're due for yet another break. When we return, more reports. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. We'd absolutely appreciate it. Now, away from party politics, we'll take you to other matters as Candy Factory Production Media and Events held the 10th edition of Nigeria Stewardship Excellence Award in commemoration of Nigeria Independence Day celebration. Ruba Misalako tells us more about the event in this report.
The 10th edition of Candy Factory Production Media and Events Stewardship Excellence Award centered on the celebration of individuals and corporate organizations who have affected lives positively in their communities. This year has a theme on the challenges of economic instability and security in Nigeria.
It's in commemoration of the Nigerian independence. We're celebrating Nigeria and also celebrating Nigerians in Nigeria. So that is just the brain behind it. And the white stands for purity. We ask for purity in Nigeria, and that is what we've been craving for.
During the ceremony, attention was drawn to the lack of sustainability associated with crude oil and the impotence of generating revenue through tax collection, which directly impacts life of citizens and help alleviate poverty.
The major source of fund for economic development, especially for our government in Nigeria, is tax. We used to talk about oil money years back, and we all knew what is happening in the oil market. The oil revenue is not sustaining the economy again. So whether we like it or not, we have to come back to the sustainable source of revenue for government, and that is taxation.
All necessary agencies were also charged by the Deputy Controller of Immigration to help with border security. He also spoke on the importance of community policing.
Porous border in Nigeria has been a major challenge to the security and stability of the continent at large. The implication of this is that it's not only peculiar to Nigerian nation.
The event led to the climax of giving awards to different personalities who have performed tremendously in their area of work and impacted the communities in a good way. Ureba Misalako, Galaxy TV News, Lagos.
And away from that, once again to Delta State, the State Commissioner for Information, Charles Anyago, has said the state is safe for business as Deltans are peace-loving people. This is coming as a travel advisory by the British High Commission in Nigeria warns its citizens against traveling to some states in the country with inclusion of Delta. The Information Commissioner frowned at a decision which he described as an error on the part of the British High Commission.
And so we were taken aback this morning when we saw a report in the Vanguard where the British High Commission talked about 12 states where they are asking their citizens not to go on account of possible attack by Boko Haram. And we want to believe that it was an error. Maybe whoever wanted to type that has been so much in love with data, and I didn't know when he added the name of data. And so we want to encourage the British authorities, and indeed any other foreign national, to continue to see reason to do business with Delta, to travel down to Delta for the purpose of leisure, investment, and any other form of interaction, because God has helped us to galvanize the different energies in our people to ensure that our people are very, very peace-loving and working very hard to have a much more progressive state.
Now, the Oyo State Assembly has given its nod to Governor Seyi Makinde to access 18.7 billion naira federal government bridge facility loan meant to cushion the effect of COVID-19 pandemic in the state. The request was contained in a letter forwarded to the state legislature by the governor and read during late Monday emergency plenary by the Speaker Adebo Ogundoyin. President Muhammadu Buhari approves the bridge facility for all the 36 states of the Federation, and it will be accessed from the Central Bank of Nigeria. Recall that the federal government had earlier suspended the monthly repayment of loan facilities by states due to the effect of COVID-19 pandemic. We'll stay with Oyo State for a while, as the Oyo State Command National and Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, has assured the state residents of adequate security of lives and property in the remaining months of the year. The state commandant of the Corps, Michael Adarilewa, who gave the assurance while handing over some relief materials to his officers, said the command has restructured the strategies towards providing adequate security for residents. Correspondent Kunle Ojo reports that Adarilewa, who was represented at the occasion by his deputy, Femi Ete, said in terms of arrests and number of matters treated in the course of the year, 315 cases including rape, domestic violence, child trafficking, molestation, child abandonment and child slavery had been handled by the Anti-Human Trafficking and Child Protection Unit.
The matter is, if you could see that there's relative peace in your state, this could be attributed to what the story given to our officers to do in the field. For instance, the Agro Rangers, they are so wonderful. All the places they've been posted to. Is it the Barakpa you want to talk about, Obomasho zone, and the rest of them? You can see that there's relative peace in your state.
He warned fomenting troubles at Olugbade village in Isenyi and Orire local government area to desist, as the command will deal with all other trafficking and illicit acts in the state. And away from that now to Ogun State, the Ogun 1 Command of the Nigeria Customs Service, NCS, has gotten a new controller. Galaxy TV News reports the new controller, Dara Nadi, took over from controller Peter Kolo at a handover ceremony held on Monday at the conference room of the command. The spokesperson of the command, Hamed Oloyede, said on Tuesday Peter Kolo has proceeded on his 3-month pre-retirement leave. Nandi, prior to his appointment, had served in the command as Deputy Controller in charge of administration. He was recently promoted. Speaking, the outgoing controller, Kolo, appreciated the Controller General Customs and the entire management for the opportunity and level playing ground he enjoyed to serve as the controller of the Ogun 1 Command. The National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, NCPWD, has called on the federal government and relevant stakeholders to review the educational curriculum to suit the needs of persons with disabilities in Nigeria. Executive Secretary of the NCPWD, James Lalo, made the call at a 5-day workshop on curriculum development and disability and inclusive development in Abuja. Lalo said this was to make all institutions friendly for all disabled and cater for their overall needs, just as the president of the Nigerian Association of the Blind, Ishiaku Adamu, opined that aggressive steps are needed towards promoting inclusive education at all levels to make those living with disabilities able to contribute their quota to national development.
As persons with disability and as leaders of persons with disability in Nigeria, we are very much in support of this process, and we are going to do everything possible to support the Commission, particularly that they are meeting with the yearnings and aspirations of the disability movement in Nigeria.
National Commission for Colleges of Education, NCCE, representative at the event, Dr. Iko Okon, pledged to collaborate with the Commission as their institutions already have programs for special education. You're still on the news on Galaxy Television. We now take you traveling outside Nigeria as we bring you a package of international news. Stay with us.
This is news from the international scene. Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki has accused the European Union of blackmail in a heated debate with European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen over the rule of law. The clash in the European Parliament follows a top Polish court ruling that rejected key parts of EU law. Mrs. von der Leyen said she would act to prevent Poland undermining EU values. In response, Mr. Morawiecki rejected the language of threat and accused the EU of overstepping its powers. Poles overwhelmingly support being part of the European Union, opinion polls suggest, but Poland's right-wing nationalist government has increasingly been at odds with the Union on issues ranging from LGBT rights to judicial independence. The latest rule has come to a head over an unprecedented and controversial ruling by Poland's Constitutional Tribunal that in effect rejects the core principles that EU law has primacy over national legislation. The case brought by the Polish Prime Minister was the first time that a European Union member state leader has questioned European Union's treaties in a national constitutional court. On Tuesday, Mrs. von der Leyen told the European Parliament that the European Commission, the EU executive, was carefully assessing this judgment. She said the situation had to be resolved, but she was adamant. This ruling calls into question the foundations of the European Union. It is a direct challenge to the unity of the European legal order. In India, panic has gripped migrant workers in Indian-administered Kashmir. Over 4 of them were shot dead in 2 days as anti-India rebels threatened more such attacks, forcing thousands to flee the region. Kashmiri rebels have been fighting for decades, demanding an independent state or merger with neighboring Pakistan, which also claims the Himalayan region in its entirety. On Sunday evening, 2 non-local workers identified as Raj Rashidev and Rojinder Rashidev, both residents of the eastern state of Bihar, were shot dead when suspected rebels fired at them indiscriminately after barging into a rented accommodation near Ganjapura village in the southern district of Kulgam. A 3rd worker was wounded in the incident. A day before that, a Indo street vendor in Sinraga Endiga locality and a Muslim carpenter in Pulwama district were killed in a similar fashion. This month alone, at least 11 civilians, including 5 non-local workers, shot dead by suspected rebels, have been killed in the heavily militarized region. The killings are part of a recent surge in violence in the region, which has seen at least 33 deaths since early October, including 13 rebels and 9 members of the Indian security forces. Still on the international scene, the United States Food and Drug Administration, FDA, is preparing to allow mix and match coronavirus vaccine boosting, in which people get a different additional shot to the dose they initially received, U.S. media reported. Citing sources familiar with the situation, the New York Times said the FDA might make the announcement on Wednesday, when it is also expected to authorize boosters for the Moderna and Johnson & Johnson vaccines. A preliminary study released in the United States last week showed that people who have received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine may benefit from a booster dose of a different messenger RNA vaccine, such as Pfizer or Moderna. But multiple reports quoted people familiar with the discussion as saying one shot may not be recommended over another, and the FDA could say using the same vaccine is preferable when possible. Proponents of mixing and matching point to its benefit in terms of simplifying vaccine rollout and ensuring those who need boosters can get them regardless of which jab they initially had. Lastly, on the international scene, a gang which kidnapped a group of missionaries from the United States and Canada in Haiti on Saturday is demanding $1 million in ransom for each of the 17 persons it is holding. The Haitian Justice Minister has told newsmen. The gang is notorious for kidnapping a group of people for ransom. The same gang, 400 Mazuwo, adopted a group of Catholic clergy in April. The clergy were later released, but it is not clear if a ransom was paid. All of those kidnapped are U.S. citizens, except one who is a Canadian national. Among those seized are 5 men, 7 women, and 5 children. The youngest child is reportedly only 2 years old. They worked for Christian Aid Ministries, a non-profit missionary organization based in the United States of Ohio, which supplies Haitian children with shelter, food, and clothing. The missionaries were returning from a visit to an orphanage when the bus they were traveling in was seized by the gang members on the main road in the town of Ganthia, east of the capital, Port-au-Prince. Ganthia is located in the Croix de Bourget area, which is controlled by 400 Mazuwo gang. Seizing vehicles and all of their occupants for ransom is one of the main activities the 400 Mazuwo gang uses to finance itself. The White House said on Monday that both the U.S. Department of State and the FBI We are assisting Haitian authorities with the case. And that's it from the international scene.
You're still on the news on Galaxy Television. It's not time for us to check out what's in for you in the entertainment industry.
Welcome to entertainment news. Tonto Dike has claimed that her ex-boyfriend Popogri threatened her life, put a gun to her head, and is owing her money. She said this following the arrest of Popogri on Monday, October 18. As Nigerians reacted to the arrest and detention of Popogri, Tonto slammed those calling her out. She said that ex needs to answer for threatening her life by putting a gun to her head and also for possessing over 30 illegal recorded sex tapes of women. Top Nigeria singer Tiwa Savage has slammed those who plan to destroy her career by leaking a sex tape to the public. She also pointed out that they failed miserably in their attempt to pull her down. Through her Insta story, the award-winning singer sent some words for those who wanted to destroy and shame her over the story of her sex tape. She said that they have hated how she was able to control the narrative and get ahead of a story before it consumed her, and how she is able to joke on stage about something they thought should destroy her and make her feel ashamed. Lai Mohammed, Nigeria's Minister of Information and Culture, says the recommendation to lift the ban on Twitter in Nigeria will apply to all social media platforms in the country. The minister said this: the federal government has announced the indefinite suspension of Twitter operations in the country, while expressing concern over the persistent use of the platform for activities that are capable of undermining Nigeria's corporate existence. Mohammed has now revealed that the recommendation by the team negotiating with Twitter on the suspension of the social media platforms will be submitted to President Muhammadu Buhari. He added that the engagements with the social media platform have been positive and fruitful. An English council has urged parents not to allow their children due to its graphic nature and the amount of violent content. Reports have said that children as young as 6 are copying the show's traditional children's game and school playground, which in the show come with deadly consequence for the losers. In email sent to parents and guardians, the Central Bedfordshire Council Education Safeguarding Team advised them to be vigilant after hearing reports that children and young people are copying games and violence from the show. Kanye is now known as Ye and not Kanye anymore. A Los Angeles judge today approved a petition by the rapper Kanye West to officially change his name to be known as Ye, with no middle or last name. Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Michelle William gave a nod to the request by the singer who filed this petition and stated he was making the change for personal reasons. The rapper said in an interview that he believes Ye is the most commonly used word in the Bible, and said in the Bible it means you. And that's all for entertainment news.
And that's the size of the news we bring to you at this time. Many thanks for watching, and to our cyber viewers online across all our social media platforms, I say many thanks for joining us. If you also want more updates and latest news, visit our website at galaxytvonline.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/GalaxyTV Nigeria. You can also follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Instagram at Galaxy TV, or follow on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Galaxy TV. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-666-6669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live update and comment. And out to our TV viewers, we say many thanks for watching the news. Let's do this again some other time. My name is Tife Tanemamo. Bye for now.